All right, so look, I want to talk to y'all about something. Y'all know it's the first official so-called day of Black History Month. And I know some people don't like it. Some people love it. I'm indifferent. I think it's necessary just in the sense that we don't get a collective focus on it unless we have this. But I think it's also becoming a normal thing to see, our past and details about our stories being shared all month long. But this is more of a corporate month for people to be able to focus on it. But my indifference doesn't come from being against it. It's more so about refocusing. And the refocus is the fact that I believe that the focus should be on the future and not the past so much. The past is a lesson, right? But it's not a place that we should live. I think the question that I want to pose for people to stay focused on is, what is our future like? I'm always thinking about my future, right? When you constantly stuck in your past, that's a trauma response where you just keep cycling the same thought because you don't understand that you haven't accepted it. You haven't learned that which you were supposed to learn from it. And we haven't accepted the past, and we can't even agree on what the past is. And I don't want to argue with Negroes no more. I don't want to argue about how many slaves were, where we came from, whose history is correct. I just don't want none of those arguments because I think it's a moot point a lot of times, and it's wasteful, and it takes away our power more than establishes it. As a futurist, the thought becomes, what is the future, right? And nobody owns the future, point blank period. Nobody owns the future. Nobody. You can have an idea for what you want it to be. You can say you want to be a millionaire. You want there to be this, that, or the third, but nobody controls the future. So the white man has an idea for the future. Black man has an idea for the future. The red man has an idea for the future. Everybody talks about what they think is going to be. But the future is a war of ideas and beliefs. And the one that wins out is usually the one that is believed the most. It's the narrative that becomes seeded into the minds of people's beliefs. If you tell me that there's in the future, look around, look left, look right, look up, look down, look at your phone, and think about all of the things that you were taught was going to happen in the future, how much we have. They said we have flying cars, said we have AI chips, said we have new currency, said that there will be new world wars. All of these competing narratives and ones that have been given to the people, and because that is the way and the steps upon creating a future. You have to first introduce it to people to break down their resistance for it, to decrease the shock value that it has, till it becomes accepted after it becomes rejected. Because when people first hear things, they reject it because it's so far from the norm. So you say, hey, in the future, people going to be putting brain chips in their brain. How long did you hear that being pushed on you as an idea? How many movies have you saw of it before it now becomes a reality? And when you believe something, especially when a collective belief system upon something makes it inevitable. So your assignment is to think, what's the future I want to see? That's it. Where do you want to see the progress that we have as a society, that we have as a culture? Now, you can go then take the ideas that you have based on the future that you want to be, and then you can go make movies around that. You can go make stories around that. You can go share that. You can talk about that. You can make propaganda around that. And it becomes a new narrative that becomes an infectious belief system that other people believe. It's kind of like branding. You tell people what you market the ideas that you want to have being spread out there about you, right? And then you work till that becomes true, and then other people share the same narrative, and then it becomes reality. But it's the same thing about the future. So I like to spread the good news So they say, black people having stock accounts. What's that represent? That they've been listening to financial information. Now, that's only one piece of information. It didn't say that those stock accounts were up. But it does represent a shift in a paradigm where we become economically focused. And it's step one. It's not step 10,000. We got to wait till we get there. We're not in the generational wealth and results of it. Nah, we got baby steps, of course. So in that, this is why when we give out information, we give out education, you always put the vision with it. Because if you give people, the education and they don't have a vision, they don't really know what to do with it. And it becomes a selfish application. So you're only grabbing it for yourself. But if you give people the vision, like if you go back into the past when they was like, one day we'll be free, or we have a black president, or we'll be able to walk around, do what we want to, and then they'll teach you how to get there, essentially. So yeah, we have to impregnate the minds of the people. I like my mind is seated with an idea that I believe wholeheartedly that's gonna come true, because then it's so ingrained as an image in my mind, I can't get rid of it. And everything that I do is going to this ultimate result, right? It's like you talking to somebody for the idea of sleeping with. You're doing everything ultimately to get to that moment, the bang. It's the same thing with ideas. It's the same thing with life. I'm having this conversation with this person, but this is a step along, time to where it's going to actually get to this point where it eventually becomes this result. When I was starting high-level conversations or anything that I started, I always think about the end result in mind and then reverse engineering up to that point. And if you do it correctly and efficiently the first time, right, or the second time, then you may get there even faster than you have imagined, or you may get there on time in a way that you've imagined. But if you may start off something and you may be like, why am I not getting results? All of that means is that you need to go back, readjust, reapply, right? Experiment and see if it's getting you better results. And the results that you get will tell you, right, the time that it's going to take to get to the ultimate vision. And that's how I operate. So in a simplistic manner, I say I want to have 100 million views on high-level conversations. Well, I go take the median average of views that I get per episode. Then I take the ratio or the frequency in which I put out episodes. So I say, okay, well, if I was to put out an episode every week and it got 1 million views, it's going to take me 100 weeks, right? I get 100 million views. Now, how many of 100 weeks? I know the exact time that it's going to get there. But if it slow down and I start getting 500,000 views, now I got to say, okay, that's going to take me 200 weeks. But then I can adjust my strategy and say, okay, how am I going to increase it so I still stay on time, or how do I increase it to where I decreased it, right? It's just high level thinking. It's all math. Math is such a superpower, because if you can add things up, you can make them make sense. Math is always a universal formula for a result to vision. Math is not the vision. Math is how you apply it, the arithmetic to get to the result of vision. And a lot of time we just don't do simple math. All the math in your life that you need to apply, right? Because there's a formula for every aspect. If you go, that's what artificial intelligent machines do with these algorithms. They apply the math. You know what I'm saying? 1 + 1 = 2, right? If this person continues to do this, then we can calculate, right? And we can create an algorithm of what their next move is going. It's not that hard. But the simple math in life is the math that we need to do. Life math. Every single day. The life math, the simple life math, right, is like bills. How much are my bills? Now, if I develop me a skill or a product, right, how much do I need to make per day or week to supplement my income, to do what? To take me out of survival mode. Because survival mode is when your time is dependent upon paying your bills. And if you stop spending your time, then you can't pay your bills. You're in survival mode, because you always have to use your body, right, instead of utilizing your mind. Nah. We don't want to do that. We don't want to have to pay with our life with time. We don't want to do that, right? Because it decreases how far you can go, because there's only so much metabolic energy that you can spend within a day. There was a great quote that AT&T had told BlackBerry when Apple had took their business. And he said, basically the problem with your business model is there's only a minute in a minute. He said there's only a minute in a minute. And it was cold. And it hit the BlackBerry CEO that, damn, Apple about to steal all our business, because what they did is they stopped selling minutes and they started selling streaming. And they switched the model, and it changed how much that they could make, right? When they changed the whole game on it. So we be fighting for how much we, you know what I mean? Like, you can only squeeze 60 seconds in a minute, but when you change the application to where you're not using time, right, as the currency, like, all right, I can work for an hour. No. Ideas, the streams that we get, right, can increase our time. We can create systems. We can create structures. And it changes how much we can get out of a minute. And matter of fact, we're not even judging it by time anymore.